Welcome to the Club 23 podcast, the best place to get your AI news for entrepreneurs, thought leaders, and all you rebels changing the landscape and disrupting the status quo. I'm Reko Suave with my girl Natalee, aka Inca Barbie, and our man Hector, the connector, connecting us all to the cool people in AI world. Today we're discussing the good, the bad, and the ugly of deepfakes. And what does that mean for you?
Ooh, so good. Okay, so let's first talk about what deepfakes are. Okay. Hector, you pulled up the Wikipedia about deepfakes. You want to share that with us?
Exactly. Yeah, I was kind of curious because, there's been fakes throughout time, right? We actually know fakes. And it is what it is, but what does deep fake mean? So I was pretty curious about that. So we went to Wikipedia, and Wikipedia says deep fakes are synthetic media that have been digitally manipulated to replace one person's likeness convincingly with that of another. Deep fakes are the manipulation of facial appearance through deep generative methods. That is crazy because in the world of AI, that's where we're all diving to. We're seeing this stuff on the news all the time. And news actually on our streaming and podcasts,
Yeah,
and we're talking
everywhere,
about
right?
this. Yeah, it's nuts. So,
It's
yeah.
insane. And what's crazy too is, like you said, it's been around for a while, but what I didn't realize, so here's the thing. Deepfakes using AI technology, that's been around for longer than you realize, but faking things has been around for like 100 years,
Oh, yeah.
right? I found a video talking about this. Let me pull this up and show you guys.
Yeah, that'd
This
be
is
cool.
crazy. Like the amount of the manipulation and the like uh, making the storyline be what you want it to be. Like this isn't
Oh,
new.
Johnny
So
Harris. I love
there
Johnny.
you go.
Oh, yeah, cool.
All right, let me show you this here.
Fakes. Okay, let's just be clear. We've been faking the moving image for at least 100 years. Thomas Edison wanted to spice up his news reporting from the front lines of the Spanish-American War back in like the end of the 1800s. So to do this, he shot some fake battle scenes in New Jersey and then cut them together with shots from Cuba, making this look like it was happening in Cuba, and it wasn't. And for the next 100 years, motion picture manipulation remained as crude and simplistic as Edison's sneaky editing. But
Okay, really?
What? I
Yes.
never knew that.
How long ago was
Isn't
that?
that nuts?
That's crazy.
1895. Whoa,
That's
wait.
nuts.
Yeah. So over 100 years of let's manipulate the story using, video and whatnot to like convince people of other things.
Yeah,
That's
for your
nuts.
own narrative. Dude, I had no
Yeah.
idea. I mean, you hear fake news, you hear all these things, but I did not know that it was something that's been used
What?
since the moving image.
But you know
Yeah.
what? Before the moving image, how about radio? Do you remember when they on the radio, people thought aliens
Orson
were
Welles,
coming?
yeah,
Yes,
War of the
Oh,
yes.
Worlds.
that's right.
War of the
War of the
World, right?
Worlds. Yeah, yeah. And
And
people believed it.
people and they committed suicide, right? They thought stuff was gonna like the world was gonna
No,
end.
That's
but
That
crazy.
is
here's the thing.
nuts.
That is all storytelling. All they
Yeah.
Yes.
are storytellers.
Yeah.
Orson Welles was a storyteller.
Holy cow.
Obviously, Edison, so was Edison. That was nuts. I had no idea that they
Right?
were doing this. So now with deepfakes, what does that mean for politics? What does that mean for this
Oh my
next
gosh.
election in the United States? We already have so many issues that,
Right.
to me, this next level, what's real, what's not real, what are
Yeah.
we being told? I mean,
Yeah. Well, the age-old adage of "I'll see it when I believe it,"
Yeah.
no, doesn't
Well,
work
even
anymore.
even audio. Even I don't even know, is it considered deep fakes if it's audio? Like there was something that
yeah,
landed
because they're
on.
doing the 11 Labs can do that now. So 11 Labs is one of these AI companies that you can use your voice,
Yeah.
have it copy your voice by recording like certain sentences that
Yeah.
they give you. So they
Right.
get your cadence, they get your voice, your tone, and then you can now have your voice there, so you can have it for video, for audio. So you can have
Yeah.
phone calls like robo dialing, but it's your voice.
Oh yeah.
Oh
Yeah,
my
yeah, yeah.
God.
They had something Thursday with Trump, right? There was a speech that got let out. It was just audio, and I guess there was some glitches and some little this and that, and his supporters were going, "That's not my president. That's not my boy. He doesn't slur like that. That's not how he rolls." And the people that actually put it out there said, "Oh no, it's legit." And so I think it was Reuters reached out to Trump's actual like inside folks and they decline to comment. Where does that leave us? That's like we're
Mm,
puzzled. Is it real? Is it not? How can we tell the difference? And that's just
yeah.
audio.
Well, and
Man.
how much chaos and confusion is that going to cause, right? Like there's so much. I think there's a conversation we can have about the positive side of things, but there's also a negative side of things, right?
Yeah,
And it's pretty easy to think of a lot of negative that could come from this.
Okay,
yeah,
let's think
absolutely.
positive because we did say the good. Let's start with
Yeah,
some of the
okay, should we
good.
start
Then we
there,
can
right?
because we jump right into the ugly.
Yeah. Oh,
Skip
yeah,
the
yeah.
bad.
Didn't we?
I was like, dang.
I
But
feel dirty, man. Jeez. All right.
Gosh, oh my gosh. Okay, so what? The good is that Harrison Ford can live in infamy forever, right? Like what is good?
hey,
I
no,
don't
but
know.
you're right. No, I think you're right. I think for the movie business and for content creators, you can do so many different things now that you couldn't do before. As you're aging, you can stay the same age. I mean, Hollywood is using it right now. Hollywood's bringing people from the dead.
Oh,
They've
wow.
done it with remember that there was a Fast and the Furious movie after Paul Walker had passed away, they used his brother. Side note, he used to go to my gym. So I used to see his brother all the
Oh
time. Yeah.
yeah.
I was like, man, he looks so familiar. And I never pinpointed it. And then someone told me, oh yeah, that's Paul Walker's brother. I was like, oh shoot, he looks like him. But
Yeah,
not exactly. So what they did is they used him because he still has the same height, same build, kind of same hair color. And he shot the rest of the movie, but they put Paul Walker's face on it. It was still pretty primitive, so you can see it. Even Star Wars did it, and it was still primitive. But now it's getting better and better every day.
Yeah, well,
So
even
insane.
just
Harrison
3
Ford
months
is
ago.
100 years old, but he's going to look 30 with deepfakes.
Yeah. So 3 months ago there was a TED Talk from oh, I can't remember the name of the company, but they were doing it live because there's a lot of computing power that's required in order to like do it while someone is talking and on video. But
Yeah,
that's where we're getting to. Like right now, today, is we have that ability to, with live video, do the
that's
deep
crazy.
fake on
That's
top of
crazy.
that.
Well, in
So you can do
Hollywood,
that
didn't they?
live now? That seems
Yeah, I
so
mean, it's still
hard.
like a
Wow.
little clunky, right? Like you can kind of see some, stuff. Like it's detectable, but it's
Mm.
possible.
Didn't
Well,
they have to
okay,
make
that makes
masks and
sense.
stuff in Hollywood? Didn't they have to make masks in Hollywood? Right? All that, like, the people had to create those things, and you put a mask on to look like somebody else. Wasn't that something, a thing, or was it not a thing in
No, I think
Hollywood?
they was. The makeup that's practical. So they would put the makeup to make them look a certain way. Um, but I think going back to what Natalie was saying, if you think about it, think about TikTok. Think about Instagram. Remember when that was a trend where you would
Oh,
manipulate face and you could be different faces. So we were actually being introduced to deep fakes probably like 7 years ago in a very
okay.
entertaining and fun and
Yeah.
light
Yes, that's
way.
right. That's right.
Because
Yeah.
I remember I did an Obama thing and I forgot that I had done a deep fake. I took his picture and
Really?
I did a video and started sending it out to my friends and I was
Yeah.
just saying dumb stuff. But it was funny and it was fun.
Yeah.
Now I'm like, whoa, that was the introduction for us, the consumer,
Yeah.
to
Oh,
play
yeah.
with it.
Yeah, there's certainly a lot of application for it in the entertainment world, and there's a lot of positives that I think you could look at and say, oh, it's like we want to keep these characters alive forever, or even with movies like Avatar and how they have, big blue cool alien characters and the ability to make an actor look like that, like
Mm-hmm.
that's in it's kind of in a sense like deep fakes. At least it's in the same technology sphere.
Right. Right.
So some of that's really cool. Like it allows us to make movies that we couldn't otherwise make and like use our imagination to create worlds that people have never seen before. And that's cool.
Yeah. Yeah, for sure. That's awesome.
What are some other cool ways that we can use deep fakes? Because I'm like, whoa, okay, that's a good one. That's Hollywood. It's entertainment. Are there any other ways that we can use it
It
for ourselves, for business, for?
might be cool for us to try it. I mean, I don't know. Can you imagine if it was us trying it and we were just changing from Natalie to you to me? I mean, I don't know. Is that doable?
Right? Wh-
I
What
don't know.
if,
I don't know how to do
how
it
do you
yet.
know this isn't us already? How do you know this isn't my AI Natalie? Right?
You
Hi
looked a
there.
little
I am.
strange.
Is my mouth matching with my words? Well, okay. So talking about business, though, one of the things that I've thought about is, you know, people like business owners always say, "Man, I wish I could clone myself." Right? If there was
Yeah.
just two of me, if there was five of me, And what if there was? Like, what if you had the ability to create a visual representation of you that could go to meetings for you, that could train new team members, that people could interact with?
That is
How crazy
nuts.
would that be?
That's
That would be cool. That's for the good, for sure, right?
Yeah.
you know what
Yeah, I
another one
mean,
I was
so
thinking about. Oh,
yeah.
I'm sorry, but what were you gonna say?
Well, I was just gonna say one other thought along that same line is at Disneyland right now, there's a little activity you can go to. It's called Talk with Crush, the turtle from
Oh, yeah, yeah, yeah. I've seen
Finding
that.
Nemo. It's kind of the same idea of like little kids can go talk to Crush and he'll answer your questions, right? And so it's like, man, if you could do that for yourself and interact with your employees or
Holy cow.
vendors or I don't know,
The
like
power that Disney, a massive company like Disney that's really on the cutting edge of technology, that we actually can harness that power for ourselves. Crazy.
yeah,
That's
Crazy.
crazy. I'm thinking another one too. For especially like for women, they have to get their hair done, they have to look good if they want to be on camera. Imagine if you could just wake up, your deep fake comes on, like it's you, but you're talking, you're answering questions on Zoom, live TV, but you look perfect. But you just literally
I
woke
wouldn't
up.
mind.
Wouldn't that be
I
Can
don't
you give
know.
awesome?
me
So
some
now,
volume, right? Like, can
yeah.
I just AI dry shampoo my hair and
I
have
could
it
I
see
look
don't
that being
know.
fabulous?
done for a lot of these news reporting, all these live shows where
Mm,
people are getting interviewed. Some people don't, the lighting isn't right. This isn't looking good. My hair is messed up or
I
something happened.
I
You have the
I don't know if
perfect
I'd ever
skin,
want to.
perfect hair.
I'd never want to meet that person. I might be like, ugh,
Oh,
is
yeah.
that you? That can't be you.
You won't
right.
recognize them.
That'll be like the real estate thing when you like see the real estate picture and you're like,
Oh
hold on,
yeah.
was that like a 20-year ago picture?
It's a whole Instagram reality versus Instagram. When you see them on
Oh
Instagram, it's
man.
like, wow,
Oh
they're a
yeah.
model. You see them in reality, you're like,
Yeah, is that
what?
catfishing, right? Or
Y-
whatever it's called.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's
Well, and you
exactly
guys,
it.
I don't know if you guys remember, but like however many months ago on TikTok, there was this filter that came out that was like super like voluptuous looking, but it was like you could do this and you could move your lips and your eyes and you couldn't tell the difference. Like the AI
Really.
filter was
Oh, you
so
mean you
good
can
that
actually move the
you could
face
move your lips and it
and
was
it wasn't that weird glitchy.
yeah, you couldn't detect that it was a filter.
Wow. That's
This
It's
is
nuts.
too
bananas.
nuts, man. Yeah,
It's
no.
bananas.
I feel that there's a lot more from just the way we're talking, more bad and ugly than
Should
good.
we talk about the bad and the ugly then?
Let's get right into it. Let's
Look,
get
we've
into
all
that
been
bad
waiting
and
to
the
talk
ugly.
about it. Well, here's a thing from someone that I know that is actually quite sad is their identity was stolen and used in deep fake adult content. I don't know what we can say or not say on air as far as
We're adults.
that
Adult
world,
content.
but
Adult
right,
content is
adult
good. We
content.
got it.
So that and he's done a lot to try to get that taken down, and it's not like
Is
he
he a
just can't.
celebrity?
It's everywhere.
Is he a
Um,
celebrity or
he's a
Without telling us
business
who he
celebrity is
is.
what I would call him.
oh,
Oh,
okay.
okay.
Entrepreneur celebrity.
Entrepreneur.
But
Yeah.
I think you're right. I think that is a place where it's very scary, especially if you have your face out there. I mean, we're doing this podcast. If you have Instagram, if you post on any of those platforms, your face is already online. So we can just take that image, manipulate
Yeah.
it, put it onto anything we want, and create chaos. And
Yeah.
that's scary
I
And
because
mean
he
that
what can
can't
you do to
unwind
protect
it.
yourself? Well, how do you
And he can't.
unwind it?
Yeah. And does he have a family? Does he have children? Does he have, I mean,
yes.
so it's like incredibly harmful because just putting that out there, it's almost like if you've been accused of something,
Hmm.
people tend to
It
believe
paints it.
it
Yeah.
immediately. And then
Yes.
how do you unwind that to get your name back and your good name, right? Your
Right. Well, you
wow,
could be blackmailed and it could be totally fake.
wow.
How's anyone going
That's
to know, right? If we can no longer tell with our eyes what's real and what's not real,
Yeah,
that's a
yeah.
huge new problem and new skill set that's required to figure out what is real.
And
It's
do
that
they so
honestly, that's really hard. I don't know if you guys have noticed, with LinkedIn. So I think every platform is going to have to do this. You know how you can get verified on
yeah.
Instagram? Well, now you can just pay and get it verified, which I think is dumb. You should be verified because you got to show ID and who you really are. LinkedIn did that to me. I don't know if you guys have done it, being verified by
No.
LinkedIn. So I was
Mhm.
sending something to someone, and for some reason it just popped up. Hey, do you want to be verified? You should be verified if you're reaching out to this person. I was like, sure. They use Clear, the same thing they use at the airports. So I
No
had to show my
way.
ID. I had to do the front back. They had to take a picture of me with my camera. And I was like,
What?
whoa. But now you know that's me. That account is owned by me. That is me. And I
Whoa.
think that's the only way you'll know that that's the true person, because someone else can create a Rico Moreno account, say all
Oh my
these different
gosh.
things that they do, and it not be me. You see that all the time. I have friends that are always like, oh, this account, this isn't me. And I have a lot of celebrity friends all the time. People are taking their pictures and just creating fake accounts, and then
Wow.
eventually trying to sell you something. So verification is going to be an important tool, but a true verification for all platforms going forward. So
But
we
how do you
know
know if
that
it's
we're
a
actually
true
dealing with the right people.
verification? How do you know if it's a
They
true
use Clear.
verification?
Clear is that
Okay.
governmental thing that they use at the airports.
Okay. All right.
And so they
Because
look at your ID. So you have to scan your ID with your phone. You scan your ID, the front and the back, and then you take a picture of yourself. So it's looking at different points, just like deep fakes, how they find points in your face and then they know how to like connect. This is doing the same thing. So your picture must match your face.
but how do
So
you
you
know
know
that
how
it's a
you're
real Clear, right? Is it possible there's a bogus Clear trying to get your information, so you're giving your information to that bogus
Well, it would
Clear?
be from the app. So you would have to be on LinkedIn for it to
Yeah.
be there. So yeah, if you get an email, again, that's phishing, that's
Or
scam.
a text, or a text.
Or a
Yeah.
text. Those are all scam and phishing.
Yeah.
I was on LinkedIn, the actual website,
Okay. Okay.
and then it put that up, and then it gave me the information that they're doing Clear verification now to make sure that people are who they say they are, because there's too
Because
many
for
fake bots on LinkedIn.
wow, this is
well that
educational for our audience, right? So that they know, because I didn't know.
yeah.
I'm like,
Yeah.
Yeah,
that's
this just happened to me this week. I thought you
yeah.
guys probably knew about it, but yeah, it just
No.
happened to me this week, and I was really impressed by it. And I was like, "Oh, you know what? That's cool. Going forward, I think we're gonna need that, because
Yeah.
how do we know
Well,
what's
even how
real,
our
As
who's
a
real?
phones will unlock based off of our facial recognition.
Hmm.
I don't, my brain does not understand how that works, but even, can someone, can you replicate that with an image? Or is it literally like a 3D like thing that's happening?
Ooh, that's a good thing to try out. I think my daughter wanted to try that out. She was taking a picture of
Get a
me,
picture of you and
and
she's like,
she was going to
unlock the
use it on
phone.
her for her tablet to try to unlock my phone. So maybe we'll try that out to see if that really does happen. Can you take
Yeah.
an image, and does it fool that software
Well,
and that verification process?
even your fingerprint, right? Like everybody has a unique fingerprint that
Ooh.
and so it's like, is our face the same as
Speaking of
that? And so can we interact with technology in like a 3D, human touch kind of a way? Is that something that we will be able to hold on to despite what kind of technology is developed?
check this out. So,
I don't know.
my daughter went to Whole Foods. Have you guys heard that you can pay with your palm?
Wait,
Hmm.
what?
Yeah,
Pay
Whole
with
Pay
your
Foods
with
and
your
palm?
palm.
Amazon
Pay
Fresh.
with your palm.
Hmm.
Wait,
Yeah.
like not
Like
Apple
at
Pay?
Whole Foods,
No,
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 no, no.
no,
You
your
go
palm.
in, you got to sign up, right, with your card, and your palm. You place it on there. It reads your palm, like you're saying your fingerprint. Everybody has a different palm print. So
That
you
brings a
pay
new
with your
meaning to
palm.
palm reading, I guess.
I think you walk in, they scan your palm or something, and then when you pay, you just use your palm. You don't have to have a wallet or anything. And then you walk out and you use your palm again, and you're done.
Okay, but
Transaction complete.
this is what's so interesting is that that analog thing, your handprint, right? Your palm print, that is then taken and it's digitized, right?
Yeah,
It becomes zeros and ones. So that the next time you come to that grocery store, right, and you put your palm down, then it's going to say, "Oh, this is a match," right? There you
yeah,
go. So
yeah.
what happens when those zeros and ones get hacked into and stolen, and now the palm of the guy who can get into the top security thing, who's using the grocery store too, that gets hacked, and now
I
there's
don't
security
know.
problems.
But my daughter
Yo,
didn't
this
know
is so
about
wild.
this, and she got freaked out, and she said, "No, no, I'll just pay with my card. I don't want to pay with my
Yeah, no,
palm."
they have them. So I've been seeing that a lot at Amazon Fresh. So Amazon's really pushed that. They also have something. Is it your phone or something to unlock? You get the cart, and I think you scan your barcode, and the cart has a little computer on it. So once you scan it, all you do is just put the food there. You don't even have to scan
I think
anything else. You just put the food in your basket and you walk out.
yeah,
You put it in a bag.
yeah,
There's no scanning.
right,
It already knows what you bought
right.
because there's cameras everywhere.
Wow. Well, and it's the
This
same thing. Like when you're driving a Tesla, I'm like, how does it know that there's a truck 2 cars ahead of me?
Right?
Right? Like, how does it know that, 100 feet that
It's
direction, there's a
all
person
AI.
walking the crosswalk?
All
It's
AI.
bananas.
Crazy. And fleet learning,
Yeah,
this is
right?
wild.
it
One
is.
Tesla learns something, a crazy hairpin turn, it learns it and learns it. All Teslas learn it at the same time.
Well, even
Nuts.
so lately my Tesla's been like, when I go off of auto drive, it'll say this little thing like, "Oh, why did you disengage autopilot?" And it says, "Press the button and you can send us an anonymous recording."
Yeah.
And I'll be like, "Oh, a semi truck got too close to me," or whatever I say. But it's like even that. I'm
It
like,
it it records everything. Insurance. If you get Tesla, do you have Tesla insurance?
yeah,
I don't. But
mm,
Tesla knows every move you make. Like
dude.
everywhere your car's at, how fast you are. If you're speeding, girl, you better pump the brakes because it
Yeah, this
knows.
sounds like 1984 to me, my friends.
Right? Yeah, so in an
This is
increasingly digital world, there's a whole bunch of things that we've never thought about, which
Right.
means there's a whole set of problems that need solutions,
Yeah.
right? And smart
oh
people
my
to say,
gosh.
let's take a look at this and what do we do about it? Like, that's what I think is so interesting is we're at this point in time where we've got to engage the best and brightest in our world to say, not only identify these like new problems that are evolving because of technology, but what are the solutions we're going to put in place to keep people safe and to, keep things working.
You know,
Yeah.
another one that it's starting to happen, but I had seen this probably when I first started playing with AI and started hearing about deepfakes. I'm like, oh man, this is going to be dangerous for parents. If you think about it,
Oh,
our kids are so heavy into social media. So their voices, their likenesses are out there. And if you're one of these scam artists, remember we used to get these emails from like the Nigerian prince that that had money tied up at a bank,
yes.
and if we just needed to help him, and if we gave
Right.
10,000, we can open the millions
Right.
of dollars, and people
Yeah.
fall
Right.
for these dumb scams. Well, those scammers are going to get more intelligent with more sophistication. And what I think, or what's already happening, is they're taking these voices, and you can find everything. Like we can find our information probably on the web, so you can get our phone number, where you live, all these things we need to start taking care of. Like we're doing stuff where we're trying to keep that out of the internet, so you can't
Yeah.
Mm,
find our information no matter how hard you dig, um,
mm.
because that scam artist can then get your child's voice, put them through that what is it, the company I
Voice
said earlier that
synthesis.
does it. Yeah, that voice that synthesizes the voice.
11
Now you
Labs.
have that voice. Yeah, 11 Labs.
Yeah.
Then you call that parent and say, "Hey, I'm stuck. I'm sorry, mom, but I can't really talk. Send me this money. Just put it here. Do this." And a parent that's freaking out will probably do what they need to do to take care of their child. In reality, their child is fine. Their child is
Oh
probably at their
yeah.
friend's house, but this
Oh,
call came in. They manipulated the phone number so it looks like your kid's number or IP. It's
Yeah.
their voice, and you're now freaking out. So I think really important for parents right now, we all need to have like safe words
Yeah.
that we have
mm.
with our family in case we get these crazy phishing calls or these scam calls. Oh, okay, great, son. No worries. What's our word? They can't respond. Boom, we know it's fake.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Or in their plea for help, if there is ever a plea for help, right? Because they're looking for ransom. So, and it's like this quick little thing. You got to say something like, "Hey, tell my brother I love him," or something. And maybe they don't have a brother, and that's the key word. Or tell my uncle, or tell some safe word that you know that if they're actually captive, y- you'll know if they are captive or if they're not by that safe word.
Yeah.
If they say that safe word, then you know it's legit.
Yeah, there's
And
a
God forbid
whole
that ever happened to anybody. But
amen to that.
even the fact that it's happening fake, so much trauma, so much, I mean, emotional. People aren't thinking that that's ever going to
Mm.
happen to them. And if it ever does, right, even if it's fake, it's just such an emotional trauma that happens because it's your loved one. You feel what they feel. So
And the thing
Yeah.
is,
happens.
you know,
Yeah.
if you look at technology and how it's being used and who's deeper into it, studying it, understanding it, is usually the coastal areas. So you got all of like the West Coast and the East Coast. The middle of America is far behind when it comes to technology. So for them and older people, it's easier to get scammed. And that's why you saw so many older
Yeah,
people getting scammed by
that's
these
true.
people
Oh,
from overseas, is because they're not attuned to this. They're not listening to
right.
podcasts like this.
They're
They're
more
not reading books on this.
trusting. How can
Yeah.
anybody do this, right? Like
Right.
There's no
people don't do
way.
that.
And yeah, and that part or scamming them saying that they want something. Just give us your information. You know how many times my mom's called me and goes, "Hey, I won $43,000. I need to send this information." I go, no, 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 no. Don't send anything.
Time
Yeah.
out.
If you're on a
Yeah, that's
fixed
so
income,
sad.
It
right?
is.
They're
Uh,
easy pickings.
Yeah, and this is a place where I think it's important to talk about how important the family is, because parents now have a responsibility to teach things that their parents didn't teach them. Like my parents never needed to teach me about AI safety or technology safety, right? So there's a new conversation that I think is going to be happening inside of our families that help kids understand. I mean, even like internet safety and social media and mental health, all of those topics are important. Um, but there's just like how do we prepare our children, and the youth to be able to see the good, the bad, and the ugly,
Yeah,
right? Maybe there's great innovations and things that can happen from this that, my kids, your kids, our kids can look at and be the next creators. But also, we got to make sure that they don't take the bad or the ugly path
yeah,
and get toxically wrapped up into the disguise and the the bad things that can happen with
yeah,
this.
yeah. We just got to educate our children, educate ourselves as well, because it's like stuff is coming at us so fast. It's like every day new stuff's happening, especially in the AI world.
Yeah. So one time, this is a funny story. One time, probably like 5 years ago, my daughter was telling, she wanted a toy or something. And she was like, Mom, just order it on Amazon. And I said, Girlfriend, Amazon costs money. And she's like, What? Like Amazon costs money? Right?
Right,
Like she had
right,
no idea. So
right.
kids, they believe what they see.
Yeah,
And if we're moving into a age where we can no longer rely on what we see as being true, we've got to help our kids understand this is true. This is how you know it's true. This isn't true. This is how you know it's not true.
yeah, yeah,
Otherwise, it's
Well, I
like
mean,
we're going to go around believing whatever we see.
and this is going to get way worse than what we saw a couple years ago with all the fake news and all the fake stuff that was on social media, and that was just written text. If you think
Yeah.
about all these fake websites, fake things that go out there, and how easily people fall for them,
right,
when you see a person speaking to you that you trust, but it's fake, you're going to believe it. And it's going to be
right.
hard for you not to believe it when it looks just like them, sounds just like them, which to me is horrendous for our country, because we're going into this election season and we really don't know
Ugh.
who's going to do what. And then we have other
Yeah,
countries that are getting involved in other people's elections, and they understand the power of social media so they can infiltrate. So, I mean, there's a lot
Yeah.
of things that we need to protect ourselves. And it's really about knowledge, information, and then trust. Who can
yeah.
you
Yeah.
trust?
You can't trust. Yeah, there was just a study in another
Mm.
country. I don't remember what country it was, but it just came out last week where 27% of the time people, let me make sure this is right. They could trick people 27% of the time with deep fakes. That's a
Mm.
huge percentage, and it's only getting better. The actual,
Right.
the deep fakes. So right now, today is 27%. So one out of four. That will rock a vote one way or another. I mean, right? Unless it's some kind of a
Wow.
landslide. That's pretty nuts. Um,
Jeez.
yeah.
And then a good question to ask ourselves is, how do we protect ourselves from this? I don't want someone using my face or my voice and putting me on some adult content. I mean,
Yeah,
no.
right?
where are the laws? Because
Wow,
we don't know.
right?
We should actually bring a lawyer onto the podcast that is
Yeah.
specifically working on AI law, so we start understanding what's being done right now to protect us. What are things that are not protecting us because there hasn't been a case yet,
Yeah.
um,
We know a
and then are
Yeah.
lawyer.
there
We
businesses to protect? We
we
met one,
met one
yeah.
at USC. Yeah, yeah. We should have her come
Hmm.
on.
Yeah, this also opens up a conversation around the idea of data, because as we're all learning from using ChatGPT, it gets better when you give it specific instructions, right?
Yeah.
And instructions are just your own data. And so having, a proprietary set of instructions to train an artificial intelligence to do whatever it is you want it to do, whether that be to replicate your voice and face or replicate you in words, that is going to be like, you're going to need to protect that, right? We're now taking who we are, how we sound, how we look, and we're creating that in a digital representation. And so that's never been done before. So of course, new laws, and we're going to have to figure all of the legal side of those things out. But I think it's something to be mindful of as we now start putting ourselves out there, and we just click terms and conditions and say yes. Like, we may need to be thinking about that a little bit more than we have in the past.
Yeah. Yeah. I think on Facebook you have to go really, really far into it. They hide it pretty well to be able to deselect that they can't use all of your content.
Mm.
So, and
Oh, really?
yeah, yeah, I
Wait, you
just
mean
heard
like
that
they own your
today.
content and can just use it to do whatever? Or?
Yeah, something about the analytics that you use. I mean, I
Hmm.
guess you can't just opt in or opt out like a lot of websites right now. You have to go deep in it because everybody's using it, everybody's plugged in. So you have to go deep in the terms and conditions to be able to click out of it.
Wow.
Well, think about it. What if TikTok or Facebook or whatever social platform decided to update their terms and conditions and just sneak in a little line that says, "Oh, by the way, we can use your likeness."
Yeah,
Everyone on the planet is kind of in
Who
right,
trouble,
reads
right?
those?
right, right,
Who reads? Did
right.
y'all see that? This is years
Nobody.
ago, but it was South Park did an episode on the terms and conditions for Apple when they
Oh no.
update, and you're just like, yeah, and it was hilarious. But it's true. Who reads those?
Yeah,
I've never read more than a paragraph. I'm like, all
Yeah.
right,
yeah.
yeah, I accept. But what am I
Of
accepting?
course,
I have
of
no clue. I
course.
just don't want to spend the time to read it.
It's like
I'm
TikTok.
assuming they're going to be good, but today we
You know what
can't assume
assuming
anymore.
does.
Yeah, yeah,
Yeah, no,
exactly.
it's
If you
true.
sign up for TikTok, they pretty much own all of your, and who isn't on TikTok? I mean,
That's like a whole other pod. Well, I'm actually not on TikTok. I deleted
yeah,
mine. Thank you very much. But
You know what I'm thinking about
you're,
doing? I have it, but I don't use it. I don't want to have it on my phone. I'm thinking after this conversation and everything we're talking about, I honestly don't want to have any of those platforms on my real phone. I'm thinking about getting another phone with another provider that is
interesting.
just strictly for content that
mm-hmm,
I use for business, for
mm-hmm,
content business, and
mm-hmm,
that's where the platforms live. But I don't use any of that. I don't make phone calls from that. I only use it for that because I don't want it to get any information from my banking, my
right,
notes, my
Mm.
other apps that I'm using to work.
yeah.
Just because of everything we're talking about, I'm really now thinking about that, and I think I'm going to get Mint Mobile. This is not a commercial, not sponsored, but
Good job,
I've been
Ryan
watching
Reynolds.
his
You
commercials.
sold me.
Ryan Reynolds, he sold me. He was like $15 a month, you get this, and I'm like,
Consumer
$15
Cannot
a month to
compare.
have
cellular,
my other phone.
Cricket wireless.
So
Well, you're
I'll go with Mint Mobile. I'm a big fan of Ryan Reynolds, so let's go
yeah, right.
Deadpool.
You make a good point though. There's a I think there's a small group of people right now who are actually having conversations like us and are preemptively looking at what might happen, or how might we protect ourselves, or how might we prepare for what's coming.
Yeah,
And there could be entire new business industries that pop up because of
Oh
this,
yeah.
business opportunity. And so I think being involved in this conversation is very advantageous, because you can look at what's happening and do your best to predict what might be the solution. Like, there are new problems popping up, so how might I go and create solutions for that and build a profit, right? Like, our partner Manoj is constantly telling us that this is the gold rush all over again.
Hmm.
yeah,
And so there's just so much opportunity. And we've also had other mentors tell us that you don't need to necessarily like do all the things and be everything for everyone. But if you could find a narrow niche to come in and serve the
Right.
market and solve that problem,
Right.
then, you know, it's a gold rush, baby. Like,
It is the
go for
gold
it.
rush, but instead of us being miners and going and trying to get our little piece of gold, we can develop those tools to
Yeah.
help the miners, and that's where maybe we might have an advantage because we have relationships with people like Manoj
Yeah.
and others, and we can build those tools, those picks and those hammers or whatever it is you use to mine gold, and that's probably where a better opportunity is for us than actually
And
Heck
running out
I
yeah,
think
there.
that's what makes us,
that's
I
a
think that's what
Levi's
makes this
model, baby.
podcast different. Is
Yeah,
what?
the
The
Levi's
Levi's
model.
model. Levi's became the thing
Oh.
for all the gold miners and built this fortune,
Oh.
giving them genes so they can go out there. So provide the tools for the gold rush. I think that's us. But I think we should also, who is Manoj? Because people don't know who he is.
Okay. Yeah.
He's become a partner of us. He has a company called Tetranoodle. He has 4 patents in AI. He is doing amazing things speaking on AI, and he's connected with some of the biggest AI leaders out there. So we're partnering with him because we're trying to help businesses AI their own business, bring in AI to their business to be more efficient, more effective. Um, we're going to bring him on a podcast soon because
Yeah.
Yeah,
very smart guy, and I love what he has to say about AI.
yeah,
Yeah,
he's a
and I think
keen.
that's a part of what makes us different and what we're working towards is creating a community where we are thinking bigger than anyone else on the planet, right? Like even Manoj is consistently saying, "Oh, you got to think bigger, you got to think bigger." And so,
Yeah,
this is a place where we want to bring business leaders together to say, "Yeah, you could go mining for gold, but like you could also sell Levi's."
yeah,
And how do you think about these opportunities on a macro scale?
right, right.
And also,
Manu-
how do we think about them on like the implications and impact they're going to have
Mm,
on society? Because a lot of times
yeah,
I think people get too caught up on the gold rush. And so your eyes are just like, oh my
that's a
God,
good
wealth.
point.
And you just keep going. Social media was a perfect example. We got all these apps and
Oh,
they started doing
yeah.
all these things and they were just like, oh, let's keep doing it. But no one really thought about, well, what does that mean for society and how can that do something to society? Um, so we also, as excited as we get, we also need to think out loud, put these thoughts out there, put the ugly, because I think too many people look at the
Mm,
good and try not to look at the
and
bad
then
and the
just
ugly.
like,
yeah,
Yeah, and they're like, no, no, we're gonna keep doing this. No, let's.
well,
Is there good behind it? Is there ugly behind it? And if so, how do we protect
yeah,
ourselves?
it's like
yeah,
Jurassic Park, right? We never slowed down to ask ourselves if we should be doing this.
yeah.
Boom! That's
Just because
perfect. That's so true.
just just because you can doesn't mean you should. And I
Yeah.
think we're holding each other accountable. We're doing it for the good. We're
Yeah.
educating, we're trying to have some
Amen.
fun around it and bringing in some amazing people like Manoj again, who
Hmm.
yeah, he's been doing this for 15 years before anybody knew anything about. I mean, I don't think a little baby fraction of people knew about AI before what ChatGPT in Q4 of last year. So Manoj has been doing this for 15 years. He's one of the pioneers, and so he's got an army of people behind him, and he just
I mean, he's done work for companies that everyone who's listening has heard of. Right.
Microsoft, T-Mobile, Obama, and Bill Gates have mentioned his work before. So yeah, he's no slough.
Yeah,
He's the
yeah.
real deal.
Yeah.
Well, and I think too that, if there's someone listening who feels like, hey, I'm just one person, but I sense I should do something or I feel the opportunity, I feel like this is the place for you because that's the three of us, but we've just decided like, you know what, we can't not do something about this. And it's worth having conversations and it's worth exploring what opportunities exist and it's worth helping people be educated and understand the good, the bad, the ugly because the only way we're going to get through this is together,
Yeah,
right? Like
the good, the
no
bad, and
one
the ugly.
figure this out
We
on
should
their own.
we should do a
Yeah.
poll
And I think
with our listeners and have them chime in and go, hey, who's the good, the bad, and the ugly out of the three of us? Holy cow, it's a landslide! Look at that! Look at those numbers.
Oh, it'll be
Anyhow,
sad when I lose to you, Hector.
to what?
Depends on which one I'm going for, I guess.
Exactly. Let's see who our
yeah, no,
audience
but
is,
I
huh?
think Natalie, everything you were saying makes me think the importance of community, of trust. I think we need
Yeah.
trust.
Oh
In
man.
America, I mean,
Yeah.
this is our country. This is where we live. This is my home. And what I see is a lack of trust, a lack of unity, a lack of listening to each other. Like we could have different views, but we don't disrespect each other because we have different views. We all come from
Yeah.
different backgrounds, which make us who we are. And I think it's
Yeah.
important that we have different views because we become better when we learn from each other.
Yeah.
The American landscape when it comes to media has really divided us,
Oh
and
yeah.
we're so confused. If you talk to everyday people, we're so confused on what to believe, who to trust, AI, everything. We need that middle ground, and I think that's where we're at. We're trying to build a community where we can have like-minded people who are leaders that are going to be disrupting the world, but also have morals and ethics behind them, so that
Yes.
everything we do is moving in the right direction, not the wrong direction. Because it's an
Yes.
easy pivot to go from right to wrong. I mean, it's Star Wars.
Oh
It's
yeah.
Anakin
Yeah.
Skywalker. You can easily go into the dark side.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And
It's a good
we have to keep
analogy.
reminding ourselves, what are we doing? Why are we
Yeah.
doing this? Who are we working with? And it can't just be about the gold rush and the money. It's like, obviously AI is here and technology keeps growing and it keeps moving our society forward. But we always have to ask, what are implications of this technology? And I think just by having this conversation about deep fakes, you're starting to see that we stand on that area where we're like, let's be real. We're pro AI. We understand how AI can help you, but there
Sure.
are some things that are bad and ugly about it that we need to start
Mm,
thinking about now so we can protect ourselves.
yeah.
Absolutely.
Like
Trust
those.
trust is key, and lack of trust is more and more, especially with this. This feeds into that lack of trust. Because like, do we
Well, I
trust?
mean,
Was that Ryan Reynolds in that commercial? I mean, obviously we know, but
Maybe for a
the
while,
next
but who
commercial, I don't
knows?
know. Yeah, who knows? Who knows
yeah,
who's
you're
going to be
right.
who? But this lack of
And this is,
trust, you know?
well, I was going to say,
Okay.
the other thing, unfortunately, because of now we're talking about deepfakes, but I was going to say, if you see a lot of these AI things that are popping up on your social media, on YouTube, hey, let me teach you how to do this. Buy my course on AI. But you don't see a face, the name, the voice is even synthetic. You can tell they're
Yeah.
hiding behind something. Don't trust those people. If they're not willing to put their face out there and really be legit, don't
Yeah.
buy their stuff. That happened with the cryptocurrency. You saw the crypto bros and the NFT people. Some people were really genuinely in it and they were trying to do good and they were showing their face. I trust those. But there were so many scam artists hiding behind the internet selling you stuff and people were buying it. Don't buy that
Who,
stuff.
who knows
Yeah.
what land
Question it.
they even live in? Yeah, who knows what land they live
They
in?
probably don't even
You don't
yeah,
know
they
where
don't
they're
even
from?
live here.
Yeah. No. Yeah.
So you have to be
Yeah.
careful and you have to use your right judgment. You have to really think, whoa,
There's
what's in
there's
it?
an
Who is
idea
this person?
called there's an idea called second order consequences, where there's a decision you make and there's consequences from that decision, but what are the consequences of the consequences, right? And I think that there's a need for us to be able to understand more context, like more context in our lives, like you guys were just saying. Who's the person behind those faceless videos and what's their motivation? Can you trust that? Is that in your favor? Is it just for them? Like there's a lot of layers that I think we as people are going to have to expand our own emotional awareness and intellectual awareness, so that we can now start to navigate and calibrate with all the options we have in front of us to say, does this person actually have my best interests at heart? Do we have a win-win situation? Is this aligned with my values? Like those types of questions, I think we get the opportunity to sit back and ask, because, we here at AI23, like we look at life, leadership, business, technology from a holistic perspective, right? We're looking at, how does this impact us? How does this impact our families? How does this impact our communities and the world at large? And so just raising the quality of all of those things is our goal. And I think we would invite everyone to do the same by just being curious.
Yeah. We talk
Well, let
about
me
that all
ask
the
you guys a
time.
question. Yeah, I'm going to ask you guys this question. Who out there in the world of media do you trust, do you like, and why? This could be on YouTube, Instagram. Who do you guys follow and
Tom,
what makes you
Tom
like them
Bilyeu.
and trust them?
Tom Bilyeu.
Yeah,
I get a
he's the
lot of
first
good.
person that came to my mind too.
Yeah. Yeah.
Why is
No,
that?
very rich interviews. He challenges the people that he has on his guests, and I
Mm-hmm.
mean, they're thought leaders. He interviews some of the top people, ex Google execs, ex, like super high level people that give a point of view that he's able to actually, he's so intelligent. He can articulate just as well as they can, and he'll provide a second point of view, and it's all for good. I mean, it's just like, I mean, I'm constant. I think I listen to him almost every day. Yeah, the quality of the guests and his intellect, his ability to ask the right questions and then challenge those views, just remarkable. That's my favorite.
He also posted a quote that said something around the idea of we should be celebrating every single time we are wrong.
Yeah.
And if you really think about what that means, if you're wrong about something and you blindly go on with life just believing that thing, you think it's right, but the reality is it's wrong. You're living in a false paradigm. You don't have a completely accurate view of the world. It's like wearing those, beer glasses or whatever, where you look, you can't see straight. So if you accept, hey, you know what? I was wrong about that. Now I have a slightly different perspective. Maybe not everything I thought was wrong. Maybe 20% was inaccurate. And I've adopted a slightly shifted perspective. If that perspective gives you more clarity, we're moving in the right direction. And I think it's in that willingness to be wrong and that flexibility and adaptability that's truly the sign of a leader and is the sign of someone who is capable of making impact, right? And really helping other people.
Yeah. We're gonna have to get that boy on
Dang.
our podcast.
Oh yeah, no, we love him. I'm gonna say something about Tom Bilyeu. Why I really love this guy is because he's about action, not words. I'm very,
Mm,
very much about don't tell me what you're gonna do, show me.
Hmm.
I am a film guy, so that's one of the things. Don't talk about it, show it on screen. You can't have a character just tell, well, I do this, I do that, blah 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 blah. That's boring. You're seeing them training. I'll take Rocky for instance. Easily, he could be sitting there talking to his or his girlfriend or his wife in the first one, and going, "Oh, I'm training hard. I'm doing this," but we don't see it. What you want to do is you want to see him in the gym, hitting or in the truck, hitting that meat.
Hmm.
That tells me everything about this person, and I think Tom Bilyeu has done that from the businesses that he's built from impact theory to where he came from. Like he was a filmmaker. So all his whole story has made me really like him, trust him. And then I see what he's doing with the content that he provides. He's showing me that he cares about me, even though he doesn't know who the heck I am. He cares that I keep learning and keep understanding the world of business, tech, personal development, and health. I
Yeah.
love that.
yeah.
And
Yeah.
you see it in him. He's lost weight. He's lean. He talks about the routines that he has. He shows you the results,
Yeah.
and that to me is something I appreciate compared to someone who's just telling you, "Let me show you how to get rich." I'm like, "Who are you? Let me show you the 5 steps of business." Again, who are you? What business did you have? And you can't find them. You Google their name. You can't find anything. What business they had? I know what
Mhm.
business he started with, and he sold for $1 billion. Quest Nutrition.
Yeah.
Yep.
I can look it up. And I think that's extremely important. People fall for the talk. Don't do that. Start looking at the actions. Look at what
Yeah.
they've done to let you know who they really are.
So good. So many good
No, it's just
insights in this
I've been
episode
burned by
today.
people that talk a lot and I think I trust too much. And so it's happened to me in real life where I'm like, "Oh man, this
Oh
person's
yeah.
telling me all the great things they do." And then emotionally, you're just like, "Oh man, this is going to be great." And then I get screwed. And it isn't until I got screwed that I get mad. Then I do research and I realize, well, the signs were there, Reko. You messed
Okay,
up.
this goes full circle, okay? Because what you just said is that what I heard you say was, I got wrapped up in the story they were telling me,
Yeah.
Oh,
right?
That's it.
yes.
So think
Yeah, for
about
sure.
that. In 1895, the story he was trying to tell the world about the war,
Yeah.
he wanted it to be one way, the truth was another,
Right.
right? And so it's
Right.
kind of like a fun way to maybe wrap the episode of, you got to be aware of what's the story you're in and what's the
Yeah.
real story going on.
And history's only written
That's
by the
huge.
people that survived.
Yeah. So write the story, right? I mean, we're all here to write our individual stories and help craft the responsible stories as we integrate technology even more into our lives as humans.
I think
As
so.
crazy as that is to say, you know.
I know. And I love how you
We,
wrapped it up because you're right. It is the story. It again goes back to storytelling.
yeah, and you
Yeah.
learned a lesson.
Some people are really good.
Yeah,
Yeah. So this has been a super insightful episode. I love the conversation we've had. And, you know, I just want to remind our listeners, we have community here and we would love to invite you into that community. And if you would not mind, we'd love for you to take a moment and subscribe, like, and share this podcast with other people that you think might benefit. Because every single support that you give us, the likes, the comments, subscribing, it makes a difference. So until next time, stay curious and stay tuned for more exciting topics.